right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting order. Our vision to be the model school district where every learner is valued and empowered to become a successful contributing member of society. It's our mission to foster a culture of ownership and accountability through partnerships that create multiple pathways for success. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Colonel Smith, Daniel Gray.
Here.
Coleman.
Present.
Jim Moore here. Ron McDaniel.
Present.
Dina Tony.
Here.
Lauren Martin.
Here.
Laura Walker.
Here.
Everyone here, sir. All right, if you'll join me as we stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Colonel Field. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. First items on our agenda are reports, and I've got a legal update, but I do not see Mr. Richardson here. Oh, the legal update. So we'll move on down to facilities update, and I see several facilities update people. Good evening.
Everyone, Matt Swain, WR. We're going to let Roger go first because we're going to talk about the finishes for his stuff.
Evening, sir.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Good.
Little update for middle school. We had some fence completion in May. We got our sidewalks completed, fence completed, landscaping completed. We got a couple little items on the punch list. We got the boards that are coming in on the 12th. We'll have them installed by the end of the month. Any questions on the middle school addition? We do have the tent walls. We're taking them down after summer school's out, so the 29th. After that first week or so of July, when we get that touched up.
We should have final CO in July.
Well, we've already got the final CO. We've got substantial completion. That's the temporary resolve based off security's recommendations to keep kids out of that area for their monitors. So the two tent walls, first, second floor, after first week of July, we'll go in and remove them, touch up paint, take the ceiling tiles, and button up any little bitty thing got left. For school.
Good job, you be gone.
Plan on it, yeah. Any questions on the addition? We got Biometa. We got our building pad in. Thank goodness.
Good.
We're starting on the foundation, moving through areas 1, 3, 2, 4, working on 5. Plumbers have worked out of area 1's kitchen. They've got it running through. We'll finish it up this week. Electricians have worked through that, working into a couple other areas. We've got the utility poles for temp powers come in. We should have that in this week. We'll be poised to put in our permanent power later on. Still waiting on DOT. WR and Bond's working on that. As soon as they give us an update, we'll get it priced in. Right now, we're looking at our first slab pour in area 3 later this week, early next. Questions on Biometa?
So the undercutting phase is done on the
Not complete. The building pad's done. We're about 70% with the parking area. As soon as we get a PR from them exactly where we're going, we're going to move that fire line around back and get it done. So hopefully a couple, 3 weeks, month, we'll be through with undercutting. Another question?
I'll have a follow-up question when you get to Merle Taylor.
So Merle Taylor, unfortunately, Kristen is on vacation, so I don't have a whole lot of information. Usually I call her and talk to her for a few minutes, but I didn't know she was on vacation. So I may or may not have answers. If not, I'll circle back around. I'm just reading hers. Earthwork and tree clearing the back of the property is ongoing. Undercut near completion for the building pad. Footings are complete areas 1, going into areas 2, moving into area 3. Electrical and plumbing underground has started in area 1. Storm drainage installation has begun in the east side of the site. What questions do you have? I'll try to answer.
I just wonder how we ended up on the undercut.
It's about, as far as I know, they're not quite through with the building pad. They're getting close. Maybe another week or 2, and they'll have that region by the woods, but I don't have a solid answer for you on that one. I'll have a good update next month.
It usually takes a geotech a little time to get them reports on how many yards it actually was.
I just got two from Alameda today, so he's starting to kick up. I don't know where he is on Merle Taylor. I'm not involved in that one.
So
We got reports that are coming in.
So we should know that information in the next couple of weeks. That's kind of where we are.
Any other questions?
We want to talk about the demo on the middle schools.
Yeah, we got, should have her swept in the end of this week, I hope. And we'll be ready to start next week, I think.
The pricing on that, Dr. Ola forwarded that to the board. The pricing I saw was a little over 4.4 for a demo.
I haven't cleaned it.
So before we start anything on that, I think we need to discuss that and maybe huddle. I think there's talked about a few other items that are upcoming on some other stuff as far as the workshop. So we may want to.
I was tell the upper management, you and Dr. O will.
Dr. Stein and I have been speaking to Patrick, and so he knows what the concerns are. So, if you just
We had a meeting this morning, but he didn't mention anything about it. So. But yeah, I'll double check and make sure everybody's aware, including the PM and the superintendent, getting ready to start. Circle around, make sure everybody knows. Any other questions? See the legacy walk?
Looks great. So I was I saw it at graduation almost.
I don't think it was quite finished.
Yeah,
They had
it
lights
looked
and light pole and the flag poles and everything.
It looked good then, but I've seen the final pictures I made for the washout there. It looks really good.
Good.
Need some more bricks and stuff down there, but we'll get there.
well, Arkansas office product is currently, for about later this week, we'll print about 75 mil good.
Those should be pretty easy to switch out. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Everybody, nice to win again. Nice to see you. So we have, well, Russ is here, Anna Clark is here, she's interior designer working on it. Betsy, I don't know if you guys know, she lives in Chicago, but still works for us, so she couldn't make it here today. So Anna's gonna do our presentation. Anna has been working mostly on the revised designs for, Taylor and Alameda, and we have a couple of things to show you with that. Dr. Ola is working on getting the PowerPoint up. Okay. So essentially, you want to go forward. So if you guys remember, this is the plan of the building, which has the front corridor and the three wing corridors.
Which doesn't, just for a failure or for 5 minutes.
It's
Both of them.
Yeah, same plan. So, if it'll be relevant to both. So, so what we'll look at today are some options for the classroom corridors, main corridors, the stage, and the main entryway as well. The PE area will be essentially similar to Lester and ES2 or JES. We call it ES2.
Yeah, the entire facility is similar.
The entire facility is similar.
We'll look at for color and
okay. So next. So that's just the exterior to give you, just to remind you what it looks like, and then so the main entry and classroom corridors. This is Lester here, so this is kind of where we're our starting point is. JES is similar to this with some slight differences as well. So keep going. So this is, I'm gonna let it
Hello, everyone. So this is the admin area. Whenever you first walk into the doors, they'll be to your right. We've done the same carpet in this area, in this front area, as we'll be going into the media center. Also keeping the typical laminate colors, solid surface colors, and having that pop of red over the top as well as an accent wall behind it. The offices that are around it will be still the dark gray carpet that is at all of the other schools as well.
You guys are welcome to come and look.
So this is a view of the entry area looking into the media center and down the corridor to where the cafeteria and some of the classroom wings are. As you see, it has the blue, red, and yellow, but we kept the yellow towards the ceiling to try and keep it away from, handprints or whatever that may be, but still have that accent as well.
And those light wells that we have that are similar.
So this is a view of what the classroom corridors will look like. It has the accent red over the entrances to the classrooms and then has the light fixture, which again mimics the kind of the skylight in the main corridor. And that yellow will be the same as the paint that we use throughout.
So just as a reminder, we looked at making different colors going down the corridors before, and there was not a consensus on what colors to choose. So at this point, we're just recommending that we do all the corridors in that red color for the entrances that go down the corridor.
And that's another view of the corridor. And then for the classrooms, they will just be concrete, the same concrete that is in the classroom corridors, and just the gray walls and the typical laminate on the millwork.
If you recall, the last meeting, we decided we didn't want any accent paint on the front wall like we had at the other school, then we got rid of it.
I know we said no, LVP, I remember that, but I don't remember no colors.
Well, we can certainly do an accent color. It's just the question is which color should we choose? So,
And we have some samples.
yeah, we have some samples now.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important since Judge Marshall is going to compare these last two schools with the previous schools. And so we want to make sure that we're.
I think we like the accent color. I think just the LVP was the issue, and because we like the concrete, but I would definitely still more colors.
And the chairs in the other elementaries usually have that same color scheme.
Yeah, and these are just generic ones dropped in. In the other ones, you had multiple colors of furniture.
I'm not gonna be in a conversation about what color. We'll leave that for, we'll defer the professionals to recommend to the other professionals.
I didn't like the green or white.
Okay, so right now what we've got red, a darker teal kind of color, a lighter blue, and then a yellow. So we can alternate. We can do each wing a different one. Do you guys have a preference? We can all do all of them the same.
I like the variety of colors. Yeah, the variety of colors. But then right there, we can match.
Yeah, so that color will be, I guess I was going to point on that screen, you can be able to see it. In the other ones, this and this wall and the door was what the color was on.
Russ, are those the only four colors? I know in some of the schools, they were by grade level.
Yeah, they're the four that we have here, but we can choose some other colors.
Is that y'all need to have a, how soon do you need to make that decision?
Not that sitting on
Yeah,
the
we
back.
have that.
We can.
Just I guess whenever we have a work session with the actual one, the colors.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right?
So another thing that we wanted to discuss with you guys is we have two different options for wall covering design that will be in the cafeteria, in the main corridor, and in the media center. So for this first one, we're calling it our vibrant wall covering, and we wanted it to kind of mimic almost like a comic book storytelling kind of feel. And so if you look up here, we have kind of a mock-up of what that would look like color-wise. It will be a cleanable wall covering. Both of these would be cleanable wall coverings. And if needed, we can adjust colors, we can adjust scale. So
The other portion of that would be the other end of the corridor, about just outside the dining room.
mhm. So if you look at the plan, this wall actually wraps into the cafeteria, and so that wall covering will follow that full wall. And if you scroll down to the next image, that's what it would look like on the stage.
What will these coverings be made out of? Is it just gonna be the wall painted,
No,
it's a
so
vinyl.
the
yeah,
vinyl?
they're a vinyl wall covering, and so they're cleanable. You can clean them with anything.
So what would be the availability if we had one that got damaged somewhere along the line?
So I believe that they will still have the file that we send them to create these wall coverings, and they should be able to create a replacement.
Okay.
So these wall coverings are actually a design that we come up with, and they print on the wall covering. So they can print that on another piece of wall covering.
Are they squares or is it like one sheet?
Like wallpaper.
It's like wallpaper.
I,
It's nice and sheet.
I sense that we're not trying to say the word wallpaper. That's what I was saying.
Well, it is, it's not your typical wallpaper that you're seeing. It's an actual commercial vinyl, heavy, thick kind of stuff that they put on. And it is washable, cleanable. It is not necessarily graffiti resistant, but it is washable.
Matthew, have the principals or school level staff seen this? So I think it would be great that when you all, when we have a work session,
Yeah.
that you hear from the principals.
Some other materials that I want to call your attention to before we move to the next scheme is the front of the stage on the bottom. It's going to be these rectangular tiles that you see here instead of the penny round that was previously used. And then if you go back up to the media center, sorry, it'll be a mix of these four carpet tiles, so it'll have a mix of all the colors as well.
This is the same product that is in your other media centers, with a different pattern.
So this second option we're calling the geometric option. It's a little bit simpler. It'll be in the same locations as the last one that we just looked at. It's just a little bit more, I guess, geometric and a little bit simpler than the last one.
Same material though.
Same material.
The comic book style or geometric.
Exactly.
One comment going back to the stage.
Of course.
We need to make sure, and I haven't seen it yet, but that we have the handicap lift there for the stage. Are you already
We actually don't have a lift on these two schools. We have to actually have a ramp.
a ramp?
Yeah.
Sitting on the right.
Right here,
Yeah. It
on the right.
starts here and goes. Can you go back to the plan? Whichever way. Whichever way, just. Yeah. So on this, there's a ramp that goes back and up.
Okay. That's a little different than the other schools.
It is a little different, but it is less problematic. We actually have room to do it here, where we
Okay.
didn't have room to do it at the other.
Good.
Those lifts can become maintenance issues. So
The main corridor is the glass aggregate concrete, is that correct?
Yes. So the main corridor and the entry will have the red gloss aggregate inside of mixed in with the concrete, whereas the classroom corridors and the cafeteria will not have it.
and that's consistent with the other.
I definitely think we need to get one. do have a question about
Go use your microphone when you speak, please.
the wall opposite, the stage, is like tile wall. Did we previously talk about that not being available?
Yes, this is a new, it's not the same as the other two schools, it's the same idea, it's just a different woodwork.
So it'd still be that same concept with like the color tiles and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still like this new one better than the old one.
And then the art spaces, the music spaces, and the gym will all mirror what is in the other schools. Any other questions?
Looks good.
I have a question about the safe or the gymnasium part. And or wherever we're going to have a safe area to put the people in. Okay. Are we going to have a problem with closing the windows and stuff, to protect like we had over the middle school?
No, we are not.
Okay.
We have found some tornado resistant windows
Mm-hmm.
that are like a bullet resistant window. And we have a couple of those in here to get some light in there.
Okay.
And all the other doors are just steel doors. Sorry, I refer to Aaron. So those are just steel doors.
And
They're
they'll be-
not low, they're not high off the ground.
Okay. Good.
Low regular doors.
Okay. Good. You remember.
Well, I do remember, and I really wish we hadn't taken those out of those, but I got last minute, so. But yeah,
It was Eldon's last doing.
maybe a prior superintendent's last. Both of them are
All
gone.
right. Very good. Any other questions as far as the presentation this evening? I'm sorry.
Yes, the question is, do you have a preference over one of the two schemes for the vinyl tile? Or
I think
what is our process?
I think the answer to that is going to be, we want to have a workshop, and we want to make sure that the administration of each building or school is involved in those decisions before we would make a final decision. So, I know we have a couple other topics. Do we want to try to schedule a workshop now, or do we want to, how soon do y'all, is this something that could be done? Because I know we're fixing to get into travel times, and a lot of schedules are going to be hard to get everybody together, so.
Besides picking some more paint colors to go with the schemes, I mean, we could be ready anytime.
Is there a deadline or a timeline you're trying to meet with these decisions?
I don't think there's any material that's urgent at the moment. So, I mean, if it's a month or so, I think we have time for that.
Yeah, there are some materials we're getting into that we're gonna have to select, like the lights and corridor need to be selected fairly soon, and a couple other things, but that's just whether or not you like the yellow or not in that corridor, for the outside housing for that. Roger, do you know of anything? Never mind.
12th through the 19th this month, is everybody still in town? Is the 12th too soon?
That's my,
Yeah. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. So the 19th?
It's okay.
Not the 19th? All right. Not the 26th? Not the 3rd? Not a Monday. All right, so the week of the 19th. The 20th? 20th. If you're available the 20th, I'm asking you.
I'm flexible.
Flexible.
So easy.
You guys available on the 20th? All right. Matthew?
We make it. We can make it. Yep.
Somebody.
Which you might have been on
Not on
Monday.
that.
Okay.
I can be fine.
Matthew, the rest of that work for you.
All right, so we've got the, um, I don't know what the, wall coverings and the decor and the finishes at the elementaries. We also have the demo for North Pulaski
And board policies.
and board policies. Is that something you can have ready by the 20th?
They're ready.
Okay. All right, so 5 p.m., excuse me, 5 p.m. good? We can all be here at 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. At 5.
I'll just try to make it so
5 o'clock on the 20th.
people might.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
All right. Hold on a second. I think we have one more item to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
Tried to get out of here.
Almost got out of here.
You want to give us an update on the track facilities?
So, talking with Coach about what Coach would like for the track. Ultimately, what he would like to do is take the existing pole vault area, transform that into a new sand pit long jump area, long jump triple area, and then add another pole vault area, and then get the two the two shot put areas, and the disc would be used on the field as it is currently. So the reasoning Coach has is that the shorter after school type events, there's not enough time to get everybody through. So he'd like to have the two long triple jumps because they have several different activities that are on those. And he'd have one for girls sports and one for boys sports. And then pole vault, there aren't that many people, so he can do both those sports at the same time. But the discus, there's a lot, not the disc, the shot. There's several in both of those that need to get through those. So
You don't have pricing on this yet.
we don't
either,
have pricing on this yet. I
Is
just
it
wanted to,
possible to have pricing on this by the 20th?
I don't know if it is. One of the things that's kind of hard to see on this is that Coach would like from your standpoint, that side of the field or outside the field for a future pavilion of some sort for pavilion. So he doesn't want to put the pole vault on that side. Putting it on the other side, there's two white dots that you can kind of see close to the bleachers. Those are existing arc drains with pipes underneath them. So we have to kind of shoehorn this thing in around those yard drains to make it work. So, and then if you see at the end of the pole vault, there's another square. That's an additional drain, one drain. So that's kind of fitting in there. We looked at putting it between the end fence and the outer fence, but there was concern that the poles, if they got off track, might catch a fence and hurt a child. So we don't want to do that. So.
Well, question. Yes, sir. Talk about the pole vault. Will that interfere with the access by the emergency medical people to come in that end?
So one of the things I might recommend doing is we would end up taking a portion of that fence down and rebuilding a new fence.
Okay.
Because we'd have to take the fence down between the pole vault run and the track and move that outside that. So in that case, we could either add more concrete to make a pad for the emergency professionals at the end there, or something, because right now there's not a lot of standing around room out there, and there's not a good pad for EMT to
Right.
sit their truck there. So, but we can work something out. It may
Maybe we could incorporate the EMT pad and all that in this remodel while we're doing it.
but it's probably going to require reconfiguring some fences and gates.
Yeah, because it's very important when we have sports going on out there, if someone gets injured, our EMT guys have got to get there.
Where are they? They're currently over there in the parking lot by the, Simply Delicious.
Yeah, they come up that road and Simply Delicious, and then there's a gravel road that leads to that. Yeah. And the gravel road's fine for them, but if we're doing something that.
Well, I would say if it's possible to get like pricing in a cafeteria style, if we added the shot puts, if we redid the long jump, or we left then we put the pole vault, kind of like a menu of options.
So what I would say is what we should get is a cost to just do the shot. And then we should get a cost to do the other track elements, because that's the same people coming out to do all that. So you certainly want that done at one time. That with the 2 shot areas, you wouldn't have to do any reconfiguration of the fence. So once you do the extra parts, that's where it gets to be some other incidental stuff, which is the stuff that I'm still scratching.
Well, if you can work on that before the 20th as well, I would appreciate it.
And we may be able to come up with like a rough order of magnitude that we can.
And we can, if I don't know if Coach Hick is available that night too, but be ready to finish that discussion.
I think ultimately what you want to do is the best thing you can for Coach, but keep being mindful of everything else.
Sure. All right. Thank you. Any questions on that? All right, next is our district reports. First up, superintendent's report.
So we have 2 presentations. I'm going to ask Dr. Janice Walker to come, and that will be my superintendent's report.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to stand before you all to talk about the growth of our scholars and let you all know that we are making great strides. The peer network has appeared before you several times, and you all posed for a picture where we had almost $78,000, and the money keeps coming. So that's good, and that's because of the hard work of our teachers and our scholars. So I'm going to ask that the principal of Merle Taylor come forward, and if you have any of your teacher leaders with you, and then if we can have Bobby G. Lester, principal, and teacher leaders. So, when we take interim assessments or the end of the year assessments, then our schools have the opportunity to earn money when they show growth. So our scholars at Bobby G. Lester show growth for reading and mathematics, and so they are being awarded $3,000. So congratulations to Mrs. Dula, and these are her teacher leaders, Mrs. Ward and Mrs. Brantley, who works closely with the peer network. And so here's your letter. And then we have Merle Taylor, Mrs. Howe. They show growth in reading, and they get $1,500. So we want to thank you all for all of your hard work. And this check will go to Mrs. Webb, and she will deposit it into the right account. So thank you all so much for your hard work, and we're proud of you all. And the last presentation is, whenever we have an opportunity to grow capacity in our teacher leaders, we always seek those opportunities. So Dr. Owen came to me last year, and he said, I think this would be a great partnership with Teach Plus. And so we partnered with them for 2 years, and we had a team of teachers who work closely. And so as a result of that, the team created a survey. We were able to take the survey results that all of our staff, our classified staff, and our certified staff, and we were able to make some great changes based on the feedback that they gave us. So I want to recognize those young ladies tonight because this was the end of our partnership with Teach Plus. But I told them that their work will continue because we value their leadership. So I'm going to ask Melissa Reed to come forward along with Mrs. Brown and Toya, and Toya White. And then Miss Llewellyn was one of the team members, but she could not be here tonight. But I want you to know that these young ladies worked so hard, and they even presented to our principals during our principal retreat. And they were a little nervous, but they spoke well and they shared the information that they had gathered. So if you were looking at the future, so this is for you, and it says, for participation on the Equity Leadership Institute at the district level, in where you were able to grow, you were empowered other people to become leaders and to create a better education for our students. So, this is Melissa Reed. And Teach Plus has asked for us to send them a picture, so I'm going to ask the board to join us down here so we can get a picture. And this is for Tanya White and Mrs. Brown. Yes, yes. Open up your count of three, there's no flash. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Got
Board, before we move on, I do just want to say I really commend our teacher leaders. They were nervous about sharing what our current reality and where we need to grow, but I appreciate them stepping out and sharing with administration on how we can support our teaching and support staff better. And so we're definitely very proud of their leadership.
All right, next up, we've got PPC reports. Ms. Pullman.
Hello. So PPC met last month, and we were asked about some of the things that are coming down the pipeline in regards to the maternity coverage, and we were asked to come up with a recommendation. And so we have done a lot of discussion, and so we did recommend that if it is all possible, that we try to opt in for the maternity coverage match that's being offered by the state. We feel like it will be a benefit that helps with retention and recruitment. And so I know there's a lot that goes into that, but it is something that we were wanting the board to look at for us, for the district.
Any questions or comments or thoughts? Is there is it to the point where we're taking action, or is there a recommendation from the administration?
Well, we did receive, I'm not sure if it's classified representatives are here, but we did also receive one. I think it's definitely worth, and I don't want to add to your board work session, but I think it's worthwhile hearing from them, but also giving Mrs. Wells the opportunity to put pen to paper on the cost, because of course this will be an additional benefit, and so those funds will come out of operating funds.
Well, then let's add it to the work session on the 20th. That's cool. Since we're going to be here, so early. Yeah. We got plenty of time that night.
Do we start at 4:30?
Now, I will remind our board and staff and audience that the district is able to opt in to this leave or this partnership with the state at any time. So we're not on the timeline to implement. And of course, many of you have heard that right now Learns Act is on hold pending the Supreme Court action. So right now we're just in a standstill currently as well.
Well, I hear that, and I appreciate y'all's work on it, and I think it's a pretty good idea too. All right, we'll talk about it on this one. All right, next item we got is the consent agenda. We've got the minutes of May 1st, assistant superintendent's reports, and then also a financial report. Is there anything in there that needs to be pulled down for discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Next item we've got is the ALE lease agreement. Dr. Owa.
Yes, sir. Before you in your packet, there are two lease agreements provided for the Titan Academy, our ALE. There's a 2-year lease with the $12,000 per month option, and then a 5-year lease at $10,000 per month option. And so we wanted, because it's a major financial decision, we wanted the board to provide their input on the directive.
Can you give us a synopsis of the original lease, the term that we're currently under?
Right now, the current lease ends June 30th, and we're paying about $3,200 a month. So
That's a significant increase. I know when we first did the lease, we spent, I think, close to $300,000 on improvements on the building. And those were offset in the lease. That was the original agreement. And I know the building's changed ownership since then, and there's a new, been some improvements. But I'm not sure that is what we anticipated as far as the increase in monthly allotment. Are there any other options for us?
Well, we do have some buildings within the district that if we needed to make a decision, Mr. Lester could provide options. We do have the owner of our current facility here too. The board has questions, but for any options, Mr. Lester can definitely provide some options that we may have. But we have one building. It would take some renovating, but that's definitely an option.
Is the green room, is that the,
We're talking on the middle school side.
is that possible? Mr. Lester, is that possible to have that completed before the start of school next year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, what is the space?
Mr. Lester, if you can come to the mic.
1,500, 15,000 square feet. So we're currently about 12,000 square feet. So that would be a bigger space.
Yes.
And you think we can do that for
Yes.
before the start of? Okay.
We're talking about the stadium in the practice facility, the green room.
The old green room.
We, last year, it was approved to put 2 classrooms in there and re-turfed it. So it has
Okay.
brand new turf in it, and it has two classrooms at this time.
What do we use it for now?
We have two classes in there, health, PE, and, what's the other class? Abbott.
And are those classes moving to the new building?
Yeah.
For the new addition?
It's where we would have to move them, yes.
And they will be empty, yes, when we move those.
Yes, those 2 could be used by there, and there's 6 rooms being utilized. We'd have to add 4 in there.
Add 4 in addition to the existing 2.
Yes, sir.
Would there be some third space?
Absolutely. And 6 small offices.
You have a cost analysis on that, or?
485,000.
And it's been approved by ESSER through the state. ESSER money. Additional space being the application that we would put forth.
So just to be clear, we're talking about relocating Titan Academy to the old green room?
Yes, that's correct. That's
So
an
like
option.
cafeteria space and everything, would they go to the middle school cafeteria, or do we have a space inside the green room for that?
The great space inside the green room, the additional turf space would be enough.
4 classrooms in the cafeteria?
It's six,
There's no
Six
cafeteria.
offices?
There's already two in
No
there.
cafeteria in the police space currently.
There's the out space that they have tables in. And we have the food brought in.
So,
They're not
so is it air conditioned and heated?
part of the $485,000 is split units in each one of those classrooms. Currently, the two classes in there have two split units.
Sounds good to me.
You look at the present lease, going for $600,000, $288,000. I think it'd be better to go to the green room and do, if we need additional remodeling or something.
Well-
It'd be right there close to our other buildings for maintenance and stuff like that. Plus the transportation, the problem with all that construction going on over there is really gonna be a problem.
Well, to add to just for your information, the classrooms that we've looked at are what's considered, they're solid walls, but they are portable. So at any time that we want to change the configuration of the building, those classrooms are ours, but they would be moved. But they have a ceiling on them, they're not open. Whereas right now we have some of those rooms in there don't have, a top to them, so.
What is the, you need a direction from the board or?
Yes, sir. Because of the financial obligation, we definitely need approval or a decision from the board.
I think, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we transfer the ALE for next year over to the green room next to the middle school there. And cancel the lease if we can, right now.
Well, it ends June the 30th.
Okay. So, but we have to notify them that we don't want to continue the lease over there. Okay. That would be my motion.
Second. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion?
What's the recommendation?
Well, we talked about it as a team, and I'll tell you, we've had a really great relationship with our current partner who serves as the landlord. Financially, though, there hasn't been a surprise for you all. We've had with the 2.4 with the demo, and then a little over 2.1 million for the undercutting, and then of course the raises that Lawrence Act calls. That has definitely not put a strain, but additional costs raises a lot of concerns. And I've shared that with the owner. I've shared that with our team that this decision is not light. And so financially, if we're able to have our own place, permanent place, then financially that's the better option for the district in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Get to work. Thank you, sir. All right, next item, Mr. Nichols, thank you very much for everything. The building looks amazing, and I know we're gonna be able to put a good tenant in there for you. Pretty good. All right, next item, we've got the 23-24 school board meeting dates.
Yes, so before you, you have the list of proposed for the FY24 school year. You will note that most of the meetings fall on the first Monday, but some like July 10th, or the July 23 meeting is actually on a holiday or the day before the holiday. And so we're proposing that change. And so, but those listed dates are right there before you.
Monday, we're working on it.
And the other change you will know, September 11th, because of Labor Day.
What do we need to vote on?
Yeah.
We can always change them as they come up or if there's special circumstances.
Make a motion to approve the
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. 23-24 school improvement plans.
So, per Act 83 of 2019, our board, well, first, the district administration must submit the school level improvement plans as they are revised each year to our school board. And of course, the law requires the school board to review them and to approve them to be put in place the following year. And so that's what you have before you. So the recommendation is to approve the 23-24 school improvement plan.
All right, is that a recommendation from Dr. Owen?
Motion to approve the 23-24 school improvement plans.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Education Service Cooperative Representative Resolution.
As one of the additional new changes with the LARNS Act, it requires the board to approve the district representative for the co-op, for their cooperative partner board. In the past, traditionally, it's been the superintendent. So since I've been here, I've been able to represent the district on their board and ensure that the changes or any thing that is in place definitely supports our mission and the direction that we're going. So, of course, the recommendation is to allow me to continue to represent our school district on the board of directors for Wilbur D. Mills Educational Cooperative.
Bill Boone? All right, we've got a motion and a second, and whatever action we take here, that when the LARNS Act gets approved or.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, so next item, we've got asset removal and disposals, a couple projectors.
Yes, sir. Per law, the board must approve the deletion of these assets, and these are two projectors that we're no longer using. So the recommendation is to approve the deletion.
Is there a threshold price limit on things we have to delete? Or no, it's everything?
I'm sorry.
I mean, two projectors?
Well,
We're required by law
Yeah.
to,
Everything.
yeah, it's usually $1,000.
if it's $1,000 or more, it's considered a fixed asset and it's financed.
Okay.
So we have to, put that into the system and then have depreciation, and then if we take it out of the system, we have to have board approval to take it out.
And failure to do that could be an audit fine. That's the reason why we have to go with approval.
Keep going, but appreciate it. All right, so we've got a recommendation to approve that. We got a motion
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, next item we've got is our personnel report, and any discussion on personnel needs to be held in executive session. So I would entertain a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Before we hold that thought, sir, we've got an addendum before us. We need to add the personnel report. It's in the drive. So I would entertain a motion to add the addendum, personnel addendum to the agenda. I've got a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second to add the addendum to the agenda. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. And now I'll take a motion to move into executive session. So moved.
Second.
Moving into executive. No, Mr. Owen.
Mr. Oldham?
I don't like these people behind us. The dragon. No, I didn't get the. It was there, but I didn't get it.
All right, go ahead and call the meeting back into open session, and we're on personnel report. And Dr. Owen, do you have a recommendation for us?
Yes, we would like to remove one candidate, Courtney Clark, from consideration and recommend approval for the remaining list of personnel.
All right. So we've got a recommendation to approve as presented minus the one name.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. And then that is the full personnel report. So next item on our agenda is our student disciplinary actions. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
and those are located
In our drives.
in the drive.
Okay, so. All good. All right, we've got student number 2, recommendation for expulsion. So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Now we're on to student number 3. All right. Get a recommendation from Dr. Owa on the student number 3. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, that's, student number 3 is upheld. Student number 4. All right. Do I hear a motion on student number 4?
So moved.
Motion and a second to uphold the recommendation for expulsion of student number 4. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 5. All right. Do I hear a motion on student number 5?
So moved.
And a motion and a second to uphold the recommendation for expulsion on student number 5. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 6. All right. Do I hear a motion for student number 6?
So moved.
All right, motion and a second to uphold the expulsion for student number 6. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right. I believe that is all of those. So, all right, that concludes student disciplinary actions. Next item we got is board officer elections. Is that time again? So open it up for discussion and nominations.
Nomination Daniel Gray for president.
All right. Any other? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Nominations for vice president. What was one of the motion this time?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second for Miss Ava Coleman as vice president. Oh. Are there any other nominations for vice president? All those in favor? Any opposed? For Dr. Coleman. Secretary,
Nominate, Jim Moore.
Second.
got a motion and a second. Any other nominations for secretary? All those in favor of Mr. Jim Moore for secretary? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Disbursement officer,
Second.
got a motion and a second for Ms. Dina Tony for disbursement officer. Brockway Tony. Is there any other nominations for disbursement officer? All those in favor of Dina? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Are there any other positions that I am not remembering? Okay. Very good. Anything else on the agenda?
Thank you, Dr. Walker, for the upgraded report from the assistant superintendents. It was good to see all that new information in there about our other scholars in different programs. Thank you.
With that, I make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Don't need a second on that.
The adjournment. That could be adjourned. Adjourned, yeah.
Mr. Lester.
Hey, could we have a position of adjournment?